Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive?
Always excited to dig into some interesting sources.
Today, we're taking a look at the BRICS nations.
But with a twist.
Yeah, we're not just talking economics, although that's definitely part of it.
Of course, but we're going deeper, looking at how these nations are becoming major players on the world stage.
In all sorts of ways. We've got sources covering business tourism, scientific collaborations, even some interesting political maneuvering.
It's a fascinating mix.
It really is. We've got a report on a massive MICE Congress that's meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibitions, essentially the world of business travel. This one was held in Moscow.
And it seems Moscow is really stepping up their game in that arena.
Then we've got news about Saudi Arabia's kind of complicated relationship with BRICS membership.
A real geopolitical puzzle there.
And to top it off, we've got an academic paper on a BRICS Science Symposium held in India,
highlighting their focus on research and development.
So let's start with that MICE Congress in Moscow. This was a big one.
Huge. Over 1,300 professionals from 17 countries. Double the participation from the previous year.
Wow. Moscow's aiming to become a top business tourism hub by 2030.
They're aiming for 8 million business tourists annually. That's a lot of travelers.
It is. So what's the draw? Why are they so focused on attracting business travelers, especially, it seems, from BRICS nations?
Well, as the middle class in BRICS countries grows, so does their purchasing power.
Makes sense. They're a huge potential market.
Exactly. And Moscow is strategically positioning itself to tap into that market. They're not alone either. Many cities are vying for a piece of that pie.
It's smart. Cater to a specific demographic with significant economic potential, and from the report, it looks like Moscow really pulled out all the stops for this Congress.
Oh, absolutely. They incorporated themed lounges, showcasing the diversity of Russia's regions, performances, regional cuisine.
Adding a bit of culture into the mix.
Exactly. It's not just about business deals. It's about creating a memorable experience.
Yeah.
And showcasing what Russia has to offer.
Makes sense. Happy attendees are more likely to come back, right? And bring their business with them.
Precisely. But of course, at the heart of these congresses are the business connections.
Right. So how did Moscow do on that front?
Over 2,000 B2B meetings took place during the Congress. Think about that. Over 2,000 opportunities for partnerships, deals, new ventures.
That's impressive. It really shows how BRICS nations are becoming a force to be reckoned with, even influencing the choices cities make to attract investment and tourism.
It's all interconnected.
It is. All right, so we've got Moscow making a play in the business travel arena, specifically targeting BRICS travelers. But now let's switch gears. Let's talk about Saudi Arabia and its rather complex relationship with BRICS.
Now, this is where things get interesting.
It does. One of our sources, a news report from a Russian agency, says that Saudi Arabia has decided to hit pause on its bid to join BRICS.
A bit of a surprise, to be honest. There were strong indications they were leaning towards joining.
Right, but then we have this statement from U.S. President-elect Donald Trump, threatening to impose 100% tariffs on BRICS nations if they create their own currency.
A bold statement for sure, and one that likely sent ripples through Riyadh.
It makes you wonder what they're thinking over there. On the one hand, aligning with BRICS could offer some major benefits.
Access to new markets, alternative financing, greater political leverage on the global stage. The potential is huge.
But then there's the risk of upsetting the U.S., a long-standing ally and a critical trading partner.
It's a delicate balancing act, weighing potential rewards against potential risks. And with that statement from the U.S. president-elect, the risks just got a lot more tangible.
So it seems like Saudi Arabia is in a bit of a bind, wanting to explore the BRICS opportunity, but also wary of alienating the U.S.
Yeah, they're caught between a rock and a hard place. And this hesitation, this will they, won't they dance, it's fascinating.
It really is. It reveals a lot about the current state of global affairs. This tension between established powers and emerging blocs.
It's a classic dilemma in international relations, how to navigate a world that's shifting right before our eyes.
Exactly. And this hesitant dance, as you put it, we're likely to see more of that as BRICS continues to gain influence.
Oh, absolutely. This is just the beginning. As BRICS nations assert themselves on the world stage, we're going to see more of these complex power dynamics play out, more of these high-stakes decisions with global implications.
It's like watching a new world order unfold. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's hold at that and move on to our final source for this deep dive. The BRICS Science Symposium in India.
Shifting gears completely, from the world of geopolitics and high finance to the realm of cutting-edge scientific research.
But it's all connected, isn't it? It all shows how BRICS nations are expanding their influence, making their presence felt in various arenas.
It's a multifaceted strategy, one that's clearly paying off. They're not just focused on economic clout. They're actively investing in research and development, fostering international scientific collaborations, positioning themselves as key players in shaping the future of science and technology.
It's a long game they're playing, and a smart one. So tell us more about this symposium. What was the focus? What kind of research were they showcasing?
Well, this was the fourth BRICS-AGAC Symposium. AGS stands for the Association on Gravity, Astrophysics and Cosmology.
So we're talking about some serious science here.
Oh, absolutely. The symposium was hosted by SGT University in India, a first for the country, and it drew scientists from leading institutions across all 5 BRICS nations, even participants from other countries.
Demonstrating the global reach of this effort.
Exactly. It wasn't just a small gathering of academics. This was a major event, highlighting the importance that BRICS nations are placing on scientific advancement.
It's interesting how the symposium ran parallel to the MICE Congress in Moscow. While business leaders were hammering out deals in Russia, some of the brightest minds in astrophysics and cosmology were gathering in India, exchanging knowledge, pushing the boundaries of scientific understanding.
Two sides of the same coin, really. Two different arenas where BRICS nations are making their mark. One focused on immediate economic gains, the other on long-term scientific advancement. But both crucial for their overall strategy of establishing themselves as major players on the global stage.
So what were some of the key takeaways from this symposium? What kind of research were they highlighting?
Well, the symposium covered a broad range of topics, everything from the study of black holes and gravitational waves to the very origins of the universe. Really fundamental questions about the nature of reality.
Sounds pretty high level.
It is. But it's important to remember that fundamental research often leads to unexpected breakthroughs that can have very practical applications down the line.
Yeah, I guess it's easy to dismiss these kinds of scientific explorations as abstract, disconnected from our everyday lives. But history has shown us time and again that's not the case.
Exactly. The development of GPS technology, for instance. It relies on Einstein's theory of relativity, a concept that emerged from theoretical physics. So who knows what practical applications might emerge from the research being conducted at this symposium?
It's fascinating to think about. So we've got BRICS nations making waves in business tourism, pushing forward in scientific research, and navigating some tricky geopolitical waters.
It's a lot to unpack, but a clear pattern is emerging.
It is. And I have a feeling this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Oh, I agree. BRICS is just getting started.
So it seems like Saudi Arabia is in a tough spot, huh? Wanting to explore the potential of BRICS, but also worried about the potential fallout from the U.S.?
It's a real tightrope walk for them.
They're testing the waters before jumping in?
Exactly. And, this kind of hesitant dance isn't unique to Saudi Arabia.
You think we'll see more of this? Other countries trying to figure out where they stand with BRICS?
Absolutely. As BRICS continues to gain momentum, we're going to see other nations grappling with the same dilemma.
Weighing the benefits against the risks.
Exactly. It's a high-stakes game of global chess.
And the outcome of these decisions, they could have a ripple effect across the world.
Oh, absolutely. The decisions made by countries like Saudi Arabia, they could influence other nations considering aligning with BRICS.
It's fascinating how something like a business tourism congress and a news snippet about Saudi Arabia and BRICS can reveal so much about the shifting power dynamics in the world.
It's all connected. These seemingly isolated events, they're all part of a larger narrative.
A narrative about the rise of new powers, the changing global order.
Exactly. And that brings us to our final source for this deep dive.
The BRICS Science Symposium in India.
Right. This time, we're shifting gears completely.
From geopolitics and business deals to cutting-edge science.
But it's all part of the same story, really.
Showing how BRICS nations are expanding their reach, their influence.
Absolutely. This symposium is a perfect example of that.
So tell me more about it. What was it all about?
Well, it was the 4th BRICS-AGAC Symposium, hosted by SGT University in India.
AGC, what's that stand for?
The Association on Gravity, Astrophysics and Cosmology.
Okay, so we're talking about space, the universe, the big questions.
Exactly, some of the most fundamental questions in science.
And this symposium, it brought together scientists from all the BRICS nations.
And beyond, leading institutions from all 5 BRICS countries were represented. And there were even participants from other countries.
Showing the global reach of this collaborative effort.
Precisely. It wasn't just a small gathering either. This was a major event, highlighting the importance that BRICS nations are placing on scientific research.
It's interesting to think about this symposium happening at the same time as that MICE Congress in Moscow.
Two very different events, but both showcasing the growing influence of BRICS nations.
In one, you have business leaders forging deals, exploring economic opportunities.
And in the other, you have scientists pushing the boundaries of human knowledge, collaborating on cutting-edge research.
It really highlights the multifaceted nature of BRICS's expanding footprint.
It's not just about economics or politics. It's about science, technology, culture, the whole spectrum of human endeavor.
And this symposium, it wasn't just about sharing research, was it? There was a special lecture as well, right?
Yes, there was a special Starobinsky Memorial Lecture delivered by Professor Alan Guth.
And he's a big name in the field of cosmology, right?
One of the pioneers of the theory of cosmic inflation.
And get this, he delivered the lecture online, straight from the US.
That's a great example of how technology is breaking down barriers and facilitating global collaboration in science.
A leading expert from the US, delivering a lecture to a BRICS symposium hosted in India.
It really highlights the interconnected nature of science in the 21st century.
It's almost ironic, isn't it? On the one hand, you have these geopolitical tensions surrounding BRICS, potentially challenging the US dollar and economic order.
And on the other hand, you have this simultaneous cooperation happening in the scientific realm.
It shows the complex reality of international relations.
Competition and cooperation, they often coexist. And in this case, we see BRICS nations asserting themselves economically and politically while also engaging in scientific collaborations that transcend national borders.
So, what were some of the specific research areas explored in this symposium?
Well, the symposium covered a wide range of topics within gravity, astrophysics, and cosmology.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Well, they delved into the study of black holes, gravitational waves, the origins of the universe, dark matter, dark energy.
Wow, that's some pretty heavy stuff. It sounds pretty abstract and far removed from our daily lives.
It might seem that way, but fundamental research like this can have unexpected practical applications down the line.
Like that GPS example you mentioned earlier.
Exactly. These scientific explorations, they could lead to breakthroughs that shape technology, innovation, and even our understanding of the universe and our place within it.
And the fact that BRICS nations are actively involved in this kind of research, it speaks volumes about their commitment to scientific advancement.
Absolutely. They're not just consumers of technology, they're innovators and producers.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've seen how BRICS is making its mark on business tourism, navigating complex geopolitical waters, and pushing the boundaries of scientific research.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. But if we take a step back and look at all these pieces together, a clearer picture starts to emerge.
What do you see?
I see a group of nations that are rising in power and influence. They're not just content with the status quo, they're actively shaping the world around them.
That's a great way to put it. They're not just reacting, they're acting. They're setting the agenda, driving the conversation.
And that's something that everyone needs to pay attention to.
Absolutely. Because the rise of BRICS, it's not just some abstract geopolitical phenomenon, it's something that has real-world implications for all of us.
So let's break that down for our listener. Why should someone who might not be directly involved in business, politics, or science care about the rise of BRICS?
Because it's reshaping the world as we know it. Whether you're a student, a business owner, or just someone trying to understand the forces that are shaping our future, the actions of BRICS nations matter.
They matter because they're impacting everything from the global economy to technological innovation to the very balance of power in the world.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that we're living in a time of profound change. And BRICS is playing a major role in driving that change.
So it's not just about BRICS itself. It's about understanding the broader shifts that are happening in the world, the emergence of new power centers, the changing dynamics of globalization.
It's about seeing the bigger picture and recognizing that the world is becoming increasingly interconnected and complex.
And understanding these shifts, that's crucial for anyone who wants to navigate the complexities of the 21st century.
Whether in their personal lives, their professional careers, or simply as informed global citizens.
It's about being aware of the forces that are shaping our world and being prepared for the changes that lie ahead.
Because the future is being written right now. And BRICS is holding one of the pens.
Yeah, it's a lot to process, but it's exciting too, don't you think? To see these new players emerging, shaking things up.
Absolutely. It's a dynamic time to be alive, that's for sure. The old world order is being challenged and new possibilities are opening up.
So where do we go from here? We've seen how BRICS is making waves in business tourism, scientific collaborations, even challenging the global financial system.
The question is, what's next? Where will their influence expand next? And how will these shifts impact our lives, our work, our understanding of the world?
It's a lot to think about, but that's what we do here on the Deep Dive. We take complex topics and try to make.
Thanks for watching, like, and subscribe.